Here are three price targets that I have for XLM in 2025. Even though nothing I say is financial advice, my first price target is going to be $5. Now, some people may be wondering why. It's because I think that Stellar has amazing rock solid fundamentals, and let me explain why. Because if we take a look at the Stellar blockchain, we all know it's lightning fast. We all know it's fantastic. And more specifically, I think this is going to be very beneficial, especially when I consider the market that it's focused on. Keep in mind, if I consider the two main markets that I would say it's focused on, first being the payments market, which is currently valued at over $2 trillion. And on the flip side, we take a look at the global trade and finance market, which is another market it's focused on, in my opinion. And that right there is predicted to reach up to $5 trillion in value by 2028, according to Mordor Intelligence. So very massive markets right there. But the thing is this, Stellar sits in this unique position that there isn't really that many dynamic competitors. Now, let me explain why. It's because for quite a while, we saw that Ripple and SEC case, which a lot of people, as a result of that, got a little bit, not that positive when it comes to this space. And as a result of that, not many developers really entered into this space. Think about this, right? Of course, there's XRP, there's XLM, but then there's 10 dynamic competitors. For instance, we take a look at beyond XRP and XLM, we see something like XDC, XCN, ZBCN, and XPR. But really beyond that, there really isn't like this massive amount of projects that are really good and focused on this space. Again, if anything, it was a blessing in disguise that the Ripple and SEC case did happen in a sense back then, in my opinion, because now Stellar doesn't have that many dynamic competitors, which is a good thing for it because less competitors, I think, a higher opportunity to become successful. And if you take a look at, again, the Stellar blockchain, it's lightning fast, it's absolutely amazing, and it just puts it in a very unique position within this space. And think about this as well. When we take a look at projects that have this aspect of ISO 20022, which Stellar has that, this is something that really, I think, excites me because if we take a look at projects, let's say, for instance, that are ISO 20022 compatible, the reason why it's amazing is because that right there, again, ISO 20022, that's currently being used by many financial institutions from all around the world for inter-organizational data exchange, which of course is a very good thing. It's not something that is experimental, up and coming. No, it's already being widely used, again, around the world. So when I see something like that, again, something like Stellar having an aspect of that, right, again, ISO 20022, that is something that really excites me for its future and I think puts it in a very fantastic position. Now, keep in mind as well, not too long ago, we saw that when it comes to the SEC, they dropped a lawsuit against Ripple, which is a very good thing, in my opinion. Now, some of the Stellar fans that I know, they kind of want XRP to do bad so XLM can do better. But here's the thing. I don't think XLM can ever defeat XRP. And if anything, I do believe that XRP, let's say doing good in the future, is going to be very beneficial for something like XLM. Let me explain why. It's because if, let's say, we take a look at this space overall, Bitcoin doing good is of course going to be beneficial to something like Solana and Ethereum. And I think much like in the case here, if let's say Ripple does very good, it's going to create a much more positive sentiment for the global trade and finance space, the payments market, at least projects that are focused on that. And of course, something like Stellar, which many people consider to be the solid number 2 in this space, it's only natural that it does go along with the ride. So if anything, it's a very good thing. I think it's very positive. Now, the reason why the impact hasn't been as massive as what it could be, I think is because, of course, the market is generally not doing the best. Take a look at Bitcoin, had a pretty big pullback. A bunch of other altcoins had massive pullbacks. And as a result of that, the news and excitement because of that was kind of muted a little bit. It was kind of watered down. But in my opinion, I do believe that once the bull run really does pick up again, this is something that's going to be very massive, not only for just XRP, but something for XLM as well. I think Stellar is very wonderful. $5 for XLM during this bull run? I don't see why not. Now, my second price target for XLM is going to be $7.50. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, that's a little bit too much. That's crazy. Well, here's the thing. If XLM were to go to that price, $7 again and 50 cents, at that point, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $230 billion, which I'm going to say why I don't think that's that crazy, because when we take a look at, again, the payments market currently valued at over $2 trillion, the global trade and finance market, which is predicted to reach up to $5 trillion in value by 2028, like I mentioned earlier in the video. I don't think this is too much to ask for, especially for a number 2 project within this space, at least in my opinion. Not to mention as well, when you take a look at something like Ethereum at one point reaching around $550 billion in market cap back in 2021, so years ago, and this can't reach around 230 billion during this bull run. Personally, for me, even though Ethereum is massive and the impact has been huge, take a look at what Stellar is trying to achieve. I feel like its vision is a lot more grand than Ethereum. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that Stellar is going to defeat Ethereum during this bull run, but what I'm saying is that it seems like the mission, the goal is a lot more grand in terms of, when compared to something like Ethereum. Now, again, the way I take a look at it is that for quite a while, XLM did receive a lot of non-positive sentiment because of the Ripple and SEC case. And I've never understood that really, because when I buy XRP, let's say, does that mean I own a part of Ripple? No. So then how is that a security? Never made sense, but good thing. Again, like I mentioned earlier on the video, the SEC dropped that. So I think this is very positive news. And again, XLM reaching that market cap at the price of $7.50. I don't think it's too crazy, especially when I consider what Ethereum reached years ago. And when I compare that to the impact of Stellar, which I think is just a lot better, I just don't see why not. Now, my third and final price target for XLM is going to be $10. Now, why $10? It's because I believe that this board could be so special. Keep in mind, according to Crypto.com research, there's currently over 600 million crypto owners. Now, this is a very big figure, even though some people may think, hey, this isn't even 10% of the world's population. Let's just let this sink in for a bit. Back in 2021, during the peak of that bull run, there was roughly around 300 million crypto owners. A very fantastic time, of course, for a bunch of altcoins, Bitcoin, XRP, and XLM, not so much, but okay, that was back then, right? But I'm just saying, generally speaking, at that time, we saw the impact that did for a bunch of cryptocurrencies. Now, you imagine we double pretty much the amount of crypto owners, which we do pretty much have as of right now at over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research again. I think this porn could be so amazing, but it's just a matter of time. Not to mention the positive sentiment when it comes to XRP and XLM, which of course is benefiting the space and XLM. Not to mention the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise and option, the Ethereum ETF, the Bitcoin ETF. I mean, it's all very positive. XLM at the price of $10, I really don't see why not. Now, how soon? As a worst case scenario, usually altcoins, historically speaking, have been known to peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, when did the last Bitcoin halving event happen? Happened back in April of last year. So 18 months from then is actually around October this year. That's why I'm paying attention to more so near the end of this year, which is why I tell this video 2025 price targets. I understand that history isn't always going to repeat itself. However, it does tend to rhyme, so that's why I'm going to pay attention to it nonetheless. And that's why I'm not giving up when it comes to this space, and I think better days are ahead. And I think the market is going to pick up again, and XLM at the price of $10 during this bull run, that really wouldn't be surprising to me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.